Before you sign the contract, please can you read the terms and conditions carefully? And if you have any questions, just ask me.
I can't see anything here about overtime.
It's in the fifth paragraph here. It says the company will pay overtime for ratings.
What about the seniority bonus?
Let me see. According to the company rules, the seniority bonus is only paid to people who have done 3 contracts with us. This is only your second contract with the company.
Okay. I don't think I have any more questions.
I've just been reading the accident report into the collision last week.
Oh, is that the one where the master was found to be drunk?
Actually, that turned out to be a false allegation. He was sober at the time.
But hadn't he taken a large number of sleeping pills or something because he suffered from insomnia?
Well, the report says his system was clear of all drugs. Apparently the main cause was substandard VHF communications between the 2 vessels. I've just been reading the accident report into the collision last week.
Oh, is that the one where the master was found to be drunk?
Actually, that turned out to be a false allegation. He was sober at the time.
But hadn't he taken a large number of sleeping pills or something because he suffered from insomnia?
Well, the report says his system was clear of all drugs. Apparently the main cause was substandard VHF communications between the 2 vessels.
Hey, have you seen my Seaman's book anywhere?
No, I'm afraid I haven't. Why?
I can't find it anywhere. I've been looking for it all over the place.
Well, do you remember where you last had it?
Well, I took it with me to the dental clinic yesterday morning, and then... well, I can't remember. I think I must have left it there. No. Now I'll have to ask the chief officer's permission to go ashore and get it back. Hey, have you seen my Seaman's book anywhere?
No, I'm afraid I haven't. Why?
I can't find it anywhere. I've been looking for it all over the place.
Well, do you remember where you last had it?
Well, I took it with me to the dental clinic yesterday morning, and then... well, I can't remember. I think I must have left it there. No. Now I'll have to ask the chief officer's permission to go ashore and get it back.
Hello?
Hello, Captain. This is Mike from OST Agency speaking.
Hi, Mike. Any news about where I'll join my ship?
Yes, you're going to join the vessel in the USA. However, your American visa expired last year. Please bring us your passport, Seaman's book and 2 photos taken within the last 6 months, and we'll arrange an interview with the embassy for next week.
Okay, so that's...
You see that vessel docked there and those seafarers hanging over the rails?
Yes, what about them?
Well, they're not real.
What?
They're dummies. You know, like you get in a shop for modeling clothes?
Oh, yes, you're right. Things don't look too good for us if they're recruiting dummies now.
You know why they're there, don't you?
Is it some kind of research the IMO is carrying out? Or are they trying out a new type of PPE in heavy weather conditions?
No, it's to stop pirate attacks.
I should warn you, the master's in a terrible mood.
Oh, what is it now? Is he still going on about highlighting the engine room emergency escape doors more clearly? I dealt with that yesterday. Now they're so bright they're enough to make you go blind or give you a headache.
No, he discovered the engine room hatches leading into the upper deck were locked.
That was just a temporary measure for security reasons, in case someone got on board while we were in port.
Welcome to the Museum of Natural History. This is a recorded phone message. The museum is now closed. Our opening hours are from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday to Friday, and from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at weekends. We are closed all day on bank holidays. Admission is free for children who are still at school and students who produce a valid student card. There is also no charge for the over 60s.
Have you spoken to the new third engineer yet?
Yes, he seems like a good guy.
Really? I was starting to think he might be depressed or have marriage problems or something.
Why do you think that?
Well, when I tried to speak to him yesterday, he just reacted like he was deaf or something and completely ignored me.
Well, if you were speaking to him too loudly or even shouting at him, he would feel humiliated in public.
The galley deck on a ro-ro vehicle and passenger ferry was replaced while it was still in dry dock. To do this, they had to isolate the electrical supply and tape over the wire ends. Well, during a routine washing down of the galley deck, the cook noticed the wires and, assuming that they were isolated from the supply, lifted them clear of the deck. He received a slight electric shock.
Did you hear about the bunker overflow that happened recently?
No. Why, what happened?
Well, my cousin works on the vessel that was involved in the incident.
That can be really serious. Was the ship arrested?
Well, they managed to avoid that. They were incredibly lucky as it wasn't severe. If it had been a major incident, then the master could have been arrested.
But surely they won't just let them get away with it.
No, the owners were fined. Did you hear about the bunker overflow that happened recently?
No. Why, what happened?
Well, my cousin works on the vessel that was involved in the incident.
That can be really serious. Was the ship arrested?
Well, they managed to avoid that. They were incredibly lucky as it wasn't severe. If it had been a major incident, then the master could have been arrested.
But surely they won't just let them get away with it.
No, the owners were fined.
What on earth is going on in here? There are nothing but hazards everywhere. What are all those wires doing under your bed? And is that an ashtray next to your bed? Yes, it is. And I can't believe that you actually have a toaster on top of your bed. You have some explaining to do.
I don't like the new chief officer.
Why?
He keeps slapping me hard on my back.
I think it's normal in his culture. I don't think he means anything bad by it.
Yes? Well, see how he likes it if I give him a kick up the arse.
I just don't think he's very culturally aware. When we were in port in Fujairah, he was sitting with his legs crossed, so his feet were pointing at the port state inspectors when they came on board. I could see they weren't pleased.
Did you say anything?
Well, I didn't want to say anything in front of the port state inspectors, but I suppose I should have a word with him. I could mention your backslapping at the same time. I just hope he takes it okay. Have you seen what the chief engineer has made?
No, what?
He's made a copy of the Titanic out of matchsticks. You can see it in his cabin.
I know, the second officer put ships in bottles.
We are a talented lot, aren't we?
And the cook makes heads out of dough.
What?
When he's baking bread, he uses the bread flour to make a head and bakes it in the oven.
He is weird. He must have too much time in his hands. He should spend the time in improving his cooking skills. That fish dish we had last night was just horrible. It tasted like wood. Have you seen what the chief engineer has made?
No, what?
He's made a copy of the Titanic out of matchsticks. You can see it in his cabin.
I know, the second officer put ships in bottles.
We are a talented lot, aren't we?
And the cook makes heads out of dough.
What?
When he's baking...
So, how long do you think he's been on board?
Not long. He must have got on in one of the ports in Kenya. Probably Mombasa.
So, is he Kenyan?
No, he said he was escaping persecution in Sudan, but we found papers on him that say he's Somalian.
That's a bit of a headache to sort out.
Yeah, we're stuck with him till we get to Tanzania, then we'll hand him over to the authorities.
We had a right carry on with that pilot just now.
Why, what happened?
Well, as soon as he got on board, he ordered the master to get him a coffee. The master was furious. Not only that, but he then asked the second officer to go and get him something to eat as he was hungry. She was not pleased. Then, when he was leaving and climbing down the pilot ladder, he started texting on his mobile, and one of the ABs had to shout at him to put it away.
What an idiot. I'm surprised he hasn't fallen.
Have you checked the leak?
Why can't we enter port?
Do you have a permit to work? How long have you been on watchkeeping duty?
Have you repaired that leak yet? Have you repaired that leak yet?
It says here that 24.9% of seafarers in our company come from Ukraine. Our cargo is 96,409 tons of crude oil. Our cargo is 96,409 tons of crude oil.
We will reduce speed 1.3 miles from the harbour entrance.
I am reporting a large floating container adrift in position 5.2 nautical miles east of Boster Island.
Pilot boat is bearing 185 degrees from you. Pilot boat is bearing 185 degrees from you.
Right, I'm just off to do a visual inspection.
Oh, I thought you did that yesterday.
Yes, I started doing it and managed to inspect the deck and storage areas, but I didn't get around to the machinery and cargo. So I'll do the cargo now and the machinery tomorrow. You know how strict they are about discharge into the waste stream.
So we've discussed the main points, we've carried out a risk assessment, and we know who's doing what and individual responsibilities. Now, where's that work permit gone?
It's here. It's all been sorted.
There's something I've forgotten. Oh, I'm getting old.
We still need to discuss who's in charge of the lockout takeout.
Ah, yes, that's the one.
John, I'm afraid we've got a problem. What cargo did you carry in the holds on your last voyage?
Grain? Why?
Right, well, holds 4 and 5 are still dusty. You need to sweep them out again or we can't load the cotton.
But the holds were swept properly, I made sure.
Yes, but it's not enough. Cotton can spontaneously combust. It catches fire so easily, so the holds must be absolutely dust-free. If you load the cotton now, you'll have a real fire risk, and I can't allow that.
Okay. I'll tell the bosun to clean the holds again more thoroughly.
Look, I know this is a bit embarrassing, but we need to talk about your personal hygiene.
What? Again? What is it this time? Come on, I know my breath used to smell, but that was because of one of my teeth had gone bad. It's been taken out now.
Don't worry, your breath is fine. It's just that it's hot working in the engine room and you just need to freshen up a bit.
Oh, that's charming, that is. I have a daily shower, same as you.
Yeah, but how often do you wash your coveralls and t-shirts?
Well, that washing machine is quite complex, you know.
I'll show you how to use it later, okay?
Have you heard about the results of the Port State Control inspection?
No. Why? Have they found some deficiencies?
Yes, it looks like we'll be detained for a while.
I'm not surprised. The vessel is so old that something is constantly going wrong or breaking down. Is it the emergency generator again?
No. The bosun told me they found a crack in one of the lifeboats.
I remember the last time they inspected the ship, they discovered the lifeboat engine wouldn't start.
The engineer on watch noticed there was a smell of burning. Then he saw that smoke was coming from the grill area of the clutch guard, which activated a smoke detector positioned above the clutch. This set off the vessel's fire alarm. 2 teams quickly arrived. They used dry powder and CO2 extinguishers in an attempt to put out the fire. But the fire was so intense and kept reigniting and continued to burn. So they stopped the second engine and they turned on the water fog firefighting system. It took a while, but finally they were able to put out the fire.
Right, the next area I want to check is the access to the accommodation. We'll start here on deck A.
You okay?
Good. Everything seems to be okay. Now, could you lock this last door?
Oh, it doesn't seem to be working. I can't get it to lock. I don't believe it. We checked all these doors just 3 hours ago.
Sir, how many days can you survive for in a life raft?
Well, I guess the maximum is about 30 days.
As many as that? I thought it was only about 15, sir.
Well, there was a recent case where the crew from a Chinese vessel survived for 50 days adrift, but they were lucky as it rained for about 15 days, so they were able to collect the rainwater.
Sir, how many days can you survive for in a life raft?
Well, I guess the maximum is about 30 days.
As many as that? I thought it was only about 15, sir.
Well, there was a recent case where the crew from a Chinese vessel survived for 50 days adrift, but they were lucky as it rained for about 15 days, so they were able to collect the rainwater.
Well, I've got another month here and then I'm off.
Yes, I heard you got a good job offer from that oil company.
That's right. I need to make as much money as I can before I retire in a couple of years' time.
Don't you think it'll be really stressful?
Well, I used to get stressed when I was younger, but I don't let things worry me now. Life's too short.
So what do you think of the new cook, then?
Well, his cooking's even worse than my wife's, and that's saying something.
Yes, I'm not sure what we had at lunch. It was like chewing on a piece of wood.
Yeah, and it tasted like wood too. There was just no flavour in it.
I know. I had to put half a bottle of chili sauce on it to give it some taste.
Yeah, if he doesn't improve, I think we should complain.
How are things?
Don't ask. You know that new cadet?
What? The one whose English is quite weak?
Your bag looks pretty heavy. You know these cheap airlines are strict.
I weighed it before I left the vessel, and it was about 12 kilos.
Well, it sure ain't now. This must be about 20 kilos. What have you got in there? They'll never let you on.
Yeah, well,
How are things?
don't ask. You know that new cadet?
What? The one whose English is quite weak?
So, I was testing that new cadet on fire extinguishers. You've just got to hear his answers. I asked him what extinguisher would you use if you had a pan of cooking oil on fire, and he said water.
Oh, no.
Wait, there's more. So then I asked him what he would use if there was an electrical fire, and he replied a foam extinguisher. And then I asked him what he'd use dry powder for. And do you know what he said?
Go on.
It's feet. What on earth is going on in here? There are nothing but hazards everywhere. What are all those wires doing under your bed? And is that an ashtray next to your bed? Yes, it is. And I can't believe that you actually have a toaster on top of your bed. You have some explaining to... So, I've been having a chat with that new cadet.
How do you think he's getting on?
You tell me. I asked him what he thought I did in my job. And do you know what he said? Have you all seen the muster list? Have you all seen the muster list?
What are you going to do when you arrive in port?
When are we arriving in port? When are we arriving in port? Is the fire under control? How do you think the stowaways got on board? There's a distress alert on channel 50. There's a distress alert on channel 50. It says on the itinerary that the ferry leaves at 1950 hours. On the 29th of March. There's a problem with the AC in my cabin. It's 45.3 degrees centigrade in there. There's a problem with the AC in my cabin. It's 45.3 degrees centigrade in there. The distance from the port to the warehouse is approximately 690 meters.